Hi everybody, this is our second word of the day with our learning from home. Now today I went for a little walk and it gave me a bit of inspiration for the word of the day that I'm going to teach you today. Some children in my class might remember looking at this word like a really long time ago, but it's one of my favourite words, and I wanted to go over it again just in case you've forgotten, and for those children watching this video who aren't in my class at school. This might be a new word for you. So the word is remote. Remote. Now, I'm not talking about the television remote, the remote control. That's not what I'm talking about. This word is an adjective. It's probably better on the board. You can maybe see it better. This word is an adjective, and it means far away and alone. Better? Far away and alone. Like an island where one person lives all by himself. Remote. Now, I found this word in the settings section of my Mrs. Wordsmith Storyteller's Dictionary. And when I went for my walk earlier today, I found that I was in a really remote location. So a location is a place. A really remote location would be a place where you are in the middle of nowhere. There's nobody to be seen for miles and miles around. And quite often, not always, but quite often it might be in the countryside. My remote location is in the countryside. But I really enjoyed being in a remote location. So you can see in the picture here that the character is on a desert island. There's nobody around him. He's the only person or platypus on the island. So he's all alone. And he looks like he's having a jolly nice time, actually, sunbathing there. So it doesn't mean because you are in a remote location that that place has to be hot or warm. Sometimes they are. Like this particular island is quite remote. There's nothing around. But the remote place, the remote location that I was in earlier today, actually wasn't on an island. It was just in the countryside. It was a very rural place, a place with lots of greenery and fields around it. So our word of the day is remote, not remote control, remote. This is an adjective and it means far away and alone, like an island where one person lives all by himself. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to pause the video there, and what I would like you to do is talk to the people around you. So it might be brothers and sisters, it might be carers, etc., about a really remote place, a really remote location that you have perhaps been to, or maybe that you've seen on TV. If you've never been to a remote location, ask a grown-up what remote locations they have been to and get them to tell you a little bit about it. Ask them to, explain perhaps what it felt like to be so far away and alone. What was the weather like? Was it a hot place or a cold place? Because a remote location could be a hot place or a cold place, or in between. It just means that you're far away from everybody and alone. So you might have been to all sorts of different places in the world that are remote. So if you pause the video there. Okay, so challenge number 1 you have done. That was the discussion challenge. Now, I'm also going to ask you to pause the video again in a second, and this time I would like you to do a slightly different challenge. You can do this challenge in your notebook, on a piece of scrap paper. It's entirely up to you. If you're in my class, I don't need you to send me a picture of this particular piece of work. However, it's a really good point for discussion. Now, adults who are seeing this video will maybe not be familiar with some of the terminology that I'm about to use, but I'm going to explain it to you. So there are two words, and I'm just going to write them down so that you can see them. Two words that I'm about to use. The first word is synonym. Synonym. And a synonym is a word which means the same thing as another word. So there are lots of words that mean the same thing as remote. So I'm going to show you some of those in a sec, and I'm going to ask you to identify them for me. So just to confirm, a synonym is a word which means the same thing as another word. Okay, the second word that I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to use this word in some of my other videos as well, so it's a good word to know. The second word is collocation, or some people say collocation. It's entirely up to you. Now, a collocation is not the same thing as a synonym. Remember, a synonym is a word which means the same thing as another word. For example, happy and overjoyed. They have a very, very similar meaning, so they're synonyms. Or hot and warm, they have a very similar meaning, so they are synonyms. Collocations are slightly different. A collocation is a word that you often find in a similar sentence or in a similar context or in a similar situation to another word. So with our word, for example, our word remote, you might find the word place as a collocation. So you might visit a remote place. So those two words often spend a lot of time in the same sorts of sentences. They cohabit the same sentence. They often live alongside each other. A nice way of explaining this is that collocations are kind of words that are good friends, so they spend a lot of time together. Okay, so challenge number 2 is all to do with collocations and synonyms. I'm going to show you a word web in a sec, and out in the middle of the word web is our word of the day, remote. And all around the outside are a bunch of other words. Here we are. Now, what I would like you to do is pause the video and recreate this diagram on your paper. This sort of, not diagram, this image. Okay, so you're going to have your target word in the middle and you are going to write all these different words around the outside. Okay. So if you pause the video there and do that for me. Now, our next job is to think about collocations and synonyms. And all of the synonyms that you have, so all the words in this circle which mean the same thing as alone, as remote, sorry, those words I would like you to circle. And all of the words that are collocations or word pairs, if you like, I would like you to draw a line to those. Okay, so if you pause the video there, the instructions are up here. So you're going to circle the synonyms and draw a line to the word pairs. Okay, now part 3 is I would like you to spend a little bit of time. Now, children, you are welcome, from my point of view, to use an online thesaurus or an online dictionary or a paper one if you have one at home to help you with this, but you absolutely must. If you are going on an online thesaurus, I can recommend thesaurus.com or dictionary.com. But if you are using that, please, please, please make sure that you ask permission from a parent or guardian before you go onto any other websites. They may well say yes, but obviously they are the bosses, so you absolutely have to check with them first. Okay, so you are going to go onto an online thesaurus or dictionary, or use a paper thesaurus or dictionary at home, and I would like you to add as many words as you possibly can to your word circle. Now remember, if they are synonyms, if they mean the same thing as remote, then you are going to circle them. And if they are word pairs, so if they are collocations, then you are going to draw a line to them. And I want to see how many you can add to your picture. Okay. Fabulous. Now, as I said to you earlier, I did go on a little walk, and I took a few pictures whilst I was on my walk. So I am going to show you a few of those pictures now. And what I would like you to do is to spend a little bit of time once you have had a look at the pictures. Now you have drawn yesterday. I had some really lovely pictures of people sent me of the word temperate that we learned, and I would really like some more beautiful pictures. They made me smile, so it was really nice to see those. And this time you are going to draw a remote location. So that might be a little house in the middle of nowhere on the top of a big hill. It might be a tiny cottage in the middle of the hills with nothing for miles and miles around. Use your imagination, it's entirely up to you. It can be a hot place or a cold place. The only thing that it has to be is it has to be a remote location. Okay? And yeah, that is our word of the day video for today. Once you have done all those jobs, you don't need to send me a picture, but if you would like to, then you can. And I'm going to finish off here by showing you our picture once again. The word is remote, and enjoy. I hope you enjoy looking at some of the pictures from my little stroll earlier today. Thanks, bye.